have a great product, and no one knows about it. The product? The product is excellence, and the people who provide this product are high school kids competing in national championships in sports and academics. In a day and age when our schools are getting attacked in the media, organizations have been holding national championships that highlight the very best in our schools, the very best in science, speech, and sports. You might ask, how good are they? And who would watch high school national championships? You personally might not be interested in watching the national championship in wrestling, but there are over 1 million fans of wrestling who certainly would. The National Speech and Debate Championships might not be your cup of tea either, but there are millions of former students, a couple U.S. presidents, many actors and actresses who might tune in to see how the kids of today stack up. They're fascinating to watch, as you will see. For a number of years, there have been national championships in high school sports and academics. We've all seen Super Bowls, the NBA, World Series, and more football games than you can count. But these great competitions all started somewhere, and that somewhere is in high school. Maybe there's been so much emphasis placed on the pros that somehow our values started getting a little blurred. Is the pros really where it's at? Multi-million-dollar contracts, coaches getting indicted for illegal recruiting, kids and parents taking kickbacks and bribes. Whoa, what happened? What happened to the kind of competition that was for the school, community, and the only prize was competing against the best to see who the best was? These values aren't lost, and you'll be pleased to know the competition is better than ever, and it's been going on for a long time. But you probably didn't know they even existed. Until now. What's more, you may have the opportunity to make the high school television network the network of choice for that age group and their families who are interested in quality education. The High School Television Network presents our nation's championships in track and field, the Science Olympiad, wrestling, basketball, and the National Forensic League. You might ask, why are these championships important? Why is this something that would attract viewers? They're important because these championships bring out our nation's best from our high schools. A national championship is a goal worthy of pursuing and attaining. Every competitor in each of these events has already placed first or second in their state tournaments in order to qualify for the nationals, so they've already demonstrated their ability. These tournaments bring kids and coaches together from all parts of the nation. They exchange ideas and technique. The overall bottom line is the level of competition always gets better, nationally, not just at one school or community. It's important because these kids learn that competing in everyday life is very similar to competing in these national championships. Competing against the best is what made America great. There is no difference in sports and academics. They demonstrate the rewards of hard work, time, and effort. What's more, they demonstrate that these winners are no different than any other kid, except they had goals and objectives to work towards and for. The message here is, you can do it too. What a great lesson to learn so young in life. Let's see these national championships of 1995 and learn a little bit about their history and their future. The National High School Coaches Association, a nonprofit organization with 10,000 members, has been holding national championships in various sports for a number of years. Wrestling, in its 6th year, has grown steadily. The mission of the NHSCA is to provide leadership and support to high school coaches and their state organizations and to develop national championships. This year's event, held at Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, drew 500 kids from 46 states. To qualify, an athlete must be a senior and have taken first or second in his state. These kids are the cream of the crop in high school wrestling in the United States. There are over 40 college coaches here at this meet recruiting. These athletes will be bumping heads with each other in college at the NCAA tournaments over the next few years. The action is fast and furious, and the technique is excellent. And who could watch a wrestling meet without watching a wrestler's mom? In no other sport does mom get quite so involved. The association sponsors the event. They do all the legwork, getting motel rooms and help the athletes with airfare. Various local and national sponsors support the event with products, services, and financially. This event also adds an academic component to their championship. College coaches meet with the athletes and their parents or coaches to introduce them to their respective universities and talk about financial aid and scholarships. The wrestling audience is estimated at approximately 1 million people, according to USA Wrestling. This national championship will be watched and supported by the majority of that audience. The fans are very loyal. These are not the same fans that watch professional wrestling. The National High School Coaches Association also sponsors an East-West All-Star basketball game. This event is only 2 years old. The only other event of its kind is the McDonald's East-West Classic, which most people have heard of. This year's event was held at the Omni in Atlanta before an Atlanta Hawks game. 20 kids from one coast to the other made up the two teams. The final score was 112-94, but the score isn't the point here. The caliber of play and the educational experience of the athletes were the big winners. These kids got to play against other kids who made all-state honors in their state, too. Watch the game and see if you can tell if these kids are in high school. They shoot like pros, and keep in mind, they've only practiced once or twice together. This event, as well as a women's all-star game, have the potential to become every bit as popular as the McDonald's. Most of us have heard about how the United States lags the world in science, math, and engineering. We have heard the negatives. Now let's consider the positive and the possible. The Science Olympiad has been in existence for 11 years. To qualify for the national competition, a student must place first or second in state competitions. For a student to place first or second in the state is a noteworthy achievement in itself. There are weekly competitions throughout the year that culminate in district and regional competitions, then the state tournament. Approximately 2,000 students from grades 6 to 12 representing all 50 states, including Guam and Puerto Rico, descended upon Indiana University for their national championship. The enthusiasm, excitement, the creativity, when you see this kind of talent come out of these students, it's just something you won't believe. There are 25 events that cover things like cell biology, chemistry, experimental design, qualitative analysis, as well as tower building, rockets, and engineering events using various forms of power. The Science Olympiad is an opportunity for competitors to excel in science thinking and science doing, either as an individual or a team member. This competition should be sponsored and promoted nationally because more science teachers need to be involved with events like this that get kids hooked on science. Not everyone can be the quarterback, cheerleader, or center for the basketball team. None of those physical attributes are necessary to design cars or do microbiology. What it takes is involvement by your science teacher, a goal, and the determination to excel. That's what's unique about these science teachers. They are coaches, and teaching motivation and teamwork is something many science students don't get in the classroom. These kids do. They've been motivated and researching for weeks and months. Science is now cool. This is why people have to see competitions like this. It's good for the students, for the schools, and the country. Over 500 athletes from 48 states met at North Carolina State University for the 3rd National Outdoor Track and Field Championships. 3 national records were broken at this event. Here's the winning high jump with a record of 7 feet, 3.5 inches. This jump is a thing of beauty, and slow-mo makes it last a little longer. This event has future Olympians in it. This event is the beginning of that preparation because it is here that they get to match up against the best from around the country. Wouldn't it be great to incorporate Olympic champions into this event to put on a clinic on technique and mental preparation? Kind of like a Here's How by Who's Who from America's Best. The beauty of track and field is the camaraderie it demonstrates between men and women who compete with and against each other. To demonstrate the significance and potential of this event, Sitting in the stands was the owner of the New York Yankees, George Steinbrenner, who is also a member of the International Olympic Committee.
It's one of the best high school meets I've ever seen. It's the type of thing we need for our young people. Kids from over 40 states competing for the championship of the United States. Tremendous. Great athletes.
The Track and Field Championships is a fabulous event.
And in first place, receiving a
This is probably the oldest of our national competitions, dating back to the 1940s. 2 U.S. presidents, many U.S. senators, actors and actresses, and many captains of business and industry got their start by competing in our country's national speech and debates. The kind of preparation and research and the intense competition is incredible. Once again, the student must place first or second in their state. The students have local competitions that begin in October and culminate at the Nationals in June. Once they get to the Nationals, they have to go through as many as 12 rounds of competition until they reach the finals. But what a finals. Listening to each student's 10-minute presentation, you will be amazed at how smooth and articulate these presentations are. They are informative, humorous, and thought-provoking. There is an incredible amount of research and rehearsal and competitive wills to win. Points are scored in debate just like points are scored in any other kind of competition. The winners at the national tournament receive scholarships. All 50 states, Puerto Rico, and Guam have participants, which total approximately 1,500 students. If you really want to know how good these students are, listen to our national champion, Sally Coring, of Apple Valley High School in Minnesota, in original oratory. This epitomizes what the high school television network is all about.
But fair does not mean equal. It means, as Aristotle told us, giving each their due, what they deserve. After all, it is that separation which makes life challenging. Without it, everyone has the same talent, the same ability. No one is allowed to excel, and nobody deserves that. And you know, I don't think anybody really wants that either. But we get confused between what we want and what we deserve. Psychologist Michael Lewis explains that this is because in other cultures, children are taught to be proud. But in America, children are taught to be happy. And although happiness is important, when we give away pride in what we do, who we are, and what we stand for, happiness becomes hollow. Now, I'm not saying that all gifts are bad. In fact, I'm an avid fan of Christmas. And my birthday's coming up. But we need to reconsider what we're giving and what we ought to give. Anthropologist Marcel Mauss found that across all cultures, with the ritual of exchanging gifts comes 3 obligations: to give, to receive, and to repay. Today, we can return to this ritual. The cycle begins by giving, but only what is ours to give, not our standards, but our time, our talents, our ideas, and our heart. Second, we must not settle for accepting gifts we do not deserve, but rather aspire and work to be worthy of the rewards we can achieve. And finally, we must repay, because it is when we give back what we have learned, when we stand for what others should follow, that we can move forward so that the cycle is renewed. Within each of us are gifts that are noble, filled with hard work, dedication, sacrifice, and love. They are not Trojan horses. These are the gifts that are meant to be given. And as long as we remember that, we can learn to beware of Greeks bearing gifts.
Participation in these national events will help any student grow and mature. This is the kind of preparation needed for the sport of life. Secondly, why shouldn't high school kids, parents, and friends be able to watch their own national championships. Your sponsorship can do this. It can turn these events and more into showcase events that have a very significant market. When you add the wrestlers, the science kids, the debate and speech students, track and field, add to them swimming, baseball, and golf, you have a huge market that covers most kids in any school in the country. Every one of these organizations who sponsor these national championships have quarterly publications that go directly to coaches and teachers. This direct promotional vehicle is invaluable and can be a great tool to promote your involvement along with national television exposure.
For more information, log on to the NHSCA website at nhsca.com or phone 610-217-8773.